Good morning. Welcome to the Meltdown. We're getting down to the end of 2013. There's a lot of information out there. I find it extremely interesting that we've got Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. The government anticipates achieving about 1/3 of the original estimate of 3 million signers, applications by the end of the calendar year. Apparently they're going to get to 1 million. People are absolutely logging in and registering quick. Now, around the world, France has made law their 75% tax on multimillionaires. And I would suspect at a 75% tax bracket, you would see a large exodus out of France. Of course, they don't have the gold that they were storing for Germany, so what's really left there? A 75% tax means the government needs more money. Of course, all governments need more money. And it's from that standpoint that we all understand that we're on a crash course and the wall's coming. Now, folks, here in the United States, we're dealing with our own debt crisis. And the flight out of dollars and into anything of value continues. The Dow is up a little bit, but the NASDAQ, the S&P are down. Crude oil trading right around $100 a barrel. And if you drive around town, you'll find regular unleaded gas prices between, I saw some $2.98 gasoline this weekend. I've seen it over $3.25. So this is a buyer's beware shopping market. And with the advent of different gasoline shopping apps, you really need to take advantage of it. There's a lot out there, and their information for the current generation of young people is so much different than it was for my generation 45 years ago, the 2 generations ago. The flight out of dollars is going to continue. There's nothing strengthening the dollar. Certainly nothing out of the Federal Reserve that would be an encouragement, if you will. Now, the 10-year Treasury still hovering around 3% means the government cannot keep a control over interest rates. The market is finally going to accept the free market economy. Somewhere down the road, that could be inflationary. And all of that having been said, brings us back to rare coins and precious metals. Now, I understand that this is not the area of your expertise. And so it is emphatic that you understand a lot of different factors that go in to why we do things. We're trying to raise the minimum wage in, I want to say it's 13 or 14 states as we enter January the 1st. And unemployment rates get manipulated by the Department of Labor and the government because we want to see things, quote, better than they used to be. It's a scary time. And if you're in the top 1% and your income continues to rise, then you're taking advantage and getting the benefit of quantitative easing, of the market manipulation that goes on. I'm here to tell you that you need to be adding rare coins, gold and silver, add some platinum, add some palladium. These are all precious metals that are in great demand, and while you don't see the demand this moment, it only takes a few large trades to come into the market and affect all of it. Now, this is a very thinly traded market, and it's very important to understand that when you talk about a paper market, when you talk about the amount of the derivatives out there, I bring it all back into rare coins because while there's billions of them, we're talking about trillions and quadrillions of dollars floating around in cyberspace. When you own a rare coin, you own something that, quote, nobody else can get their hands on. And when they do, because they're not unique. There are some unique pieces, and they'll trade for huge dollars. But the average guy on the street is going to buy a penny that is a $4 to a $10 coin. They're going to buy 3-cent silver pieces that are the size of a man's pinky nail. And they're going to trade for $30, $40, $50 a piece. They're always going to be worth that. They were made in the 1850s. These were coins of commerce. That meant that they were bartered with. Postage at one time, back during the 1850s and 1860s, because our troops, the North and the South, however you want to break that out, they needed to use postage, but because of the conditions of, quote, war, the material would get wet, the stamps would fall apart and be no good, so the government decided to come up with a coin, and they made it in nickel and they made it in silver, 3-cent nickels, 3-cent silvers. And these were coins that were utilized because, don't forget, you're talking 150 years ago. We didn't have plastic bags. We didn't have the ability to protect the currency or paper. So the government took it upon itself to allow us the ability to barter in coinage. And while coins were struck as early as 1792, you're still talking about 150 years ago in an emerging nation. We've gone from the largest creditor nation to the largest debtor nation, and it happened in a span of less than 50 years. Is there gold in Fort Knox? Is there anything backing up our currency other than full faith and credit? And the answer is no. Now, at this time of the year, certainly the holiday Christmas season being over with, there's a lot of people out with gift cards and cash, and hopefully not everything was, quote, wrapped, but ultimately it's time to look at what you've got and figure out how you're going to preserve it. There are I want to lift up a good friend down in Florida, lost his father yesterday. And Mark, I love you, brother. I hope that you and your family find comfort. Your friends are around to help you. This is that time where you hope for peace, and my prayers go up. Ultimately, folks, I worry about the unemployment benefits that expired on Saturday and the over 1 million plus people that are affected by it. And so you look at what you've got and how you've diversified it and what your financial planner has told you. And you own multiple types of assets. I can tell you that Bitcoin is continuing to, quote, trade. And now there are trades that are taking place live where you can convert dollars to bitcoins and bitcoins to dollars. And depending on what you're buying with your bitcoins will determine whether or not you really maintain the anonymity that you're trying to, quote, hide the dollars. Prudent money looks for alternatives, not to avoid disclosures, but ultimately to protect themselves. Now, there are other people who move money around in an attempt to do other things. Their motives are different. And so my message is own lots of different types of coins. Own coins from the Barber era, 1890s to the mid-19s, 1916, and own them in low grade. Own them in high grade. Own multiple types of coins. The fact that the minimum value for a 1921 peace dollar bids at about $90, and you can still buy them in the $60 to $70 range, smooth, heavily used. These were coins of commerce, is enticing. And sure, the bid sheets don't buy coins. They only report wholesale bid values and ask values. As a dealer who makes a market, I want my clients positioned before the herd turns. And trust me when I tell you the herd's coming. There are more people that are getting more concerned. They get blasted with all kinds of presentations about why they should be buying the coin du jour. And I got to tell you, the coin du jour doesn't appeal to me. As we enter a new year, thousands of coin dealers and their employees will be on the phones literally blasting you, hammering you why you should spend the extra $20 to $50 to buy a Mint State 70 coin. Folks, dealers, the ones that are in the know, the ones that have the credit lines or the cash flow, are the ones that are submitting hundreds and thousands of coins seeking to get those Mint State or Proof 70s. No Proof 70s this early in the year unless they're submitting older coins. But for the 2014s, dealers will submit hundreds and thousands of coins after the elusive, quote, Mint State 70, which isn't that elusive because dealers will take orders for 10, 20, 30, 50 pieces, and they're going to charge a premium. And they get big discounts. I've listened to cable television guys, and they tell you that the submission fee to a grading service is $25 or $50 or $100, although I don't ever hear the $100 number used. And the reason is because they submit in such bulk, they get super low discounted rates based on the era the coins were struck, the quantity of them that are submitted, and all of that information comes back to tell you that when they tell you that a coin is perfect and it was made this year or last year, that the grading fee value is $25 or $30, and that's not true. It's not. If you submit 100 pieces, whether it's through your collector's club membership or through a dealer, the rates are discounted. So I don't want to hear it. They're inflating that value to try and make something sound better than it really is. I love coins. I love educating people. And the knock against the grading companies will continue for as long as there's, quote, a market. And the market will be there until the earth blows up. Because people love coins, period. They love multiple types of coins in multiple qualities. And collectivestors are just an accumulation of people who have invested in coins, and they start to understand that the rules, the way they were rewritten when Ronald Reagan signed the law authorizing the Treasury to begin making gold again, the coins were deemed to be numismatic. And folks, I can tell you that within a matter of cents or dollars, that when gold is down $8.20, a gold American Eagle, a Maple Leaf, a Krugerrand, a bar, 1 ounce, is going to drop by approximately $9. And when the market goes up $8, you may see the market go up on a gold coin by anywhere from 10 to 50. Right now, there doesn't seem to be great demand. And so my message is jump on the bandwagon. Because in a market that doesn't accept tangible assets, it accepts paper currency or, quote, the word of the government, you find yourself in a very precarious position. It is not just a cliche to say, look at your computer screen, look at your checking account, your savings account, your CDs, your annuities. Look at how much money, quote, you think you have. But folks, you're looking at a screen that is, quote, digital. 40 million Target users with their debit cards didn't just lose their numbers, they lost their PIN codes too. And more information emerges. I listened to a couple of snippets yesterday for the Sunday talk shows, and there was an inference made to Edward Snowden, who now is being labeled a traitor against the people. And the NSA and the CIA and the FBI and the executive branch, the president, are running for cover. There's going to be a day And I believe it because of the way the laws were written back in the 80s when Reagan signed the law authorizing the Treasury to start making gold and silver again. Old coins, numismatic coins, collectibles, had to come out of IRAs because doctors and wealthy folks were on the bandwagon supporting the market, putting these coins away. And the government said, no, we don't want those. We don't want them in your IRA. Because if there's a problem and the world, the United States, ever remonetizes the debt, we better have something to back ourselves up. That's why gold and silver and certain dates of gold American Eagles or silver Eagles are valuable. But they're collectible, they're numismatic, and that's just the collecting of coins and currency. I love the market, but I love understanding what the rules are. And you can't look at a computer screen, you can't look at an online auction and understand the depth of knowledge that it takes to understand why we own what we own, because we're dealing with a lot of different variables out there. Some of the variables take us to a level of concern. I'm concerned about the grading companies. I'm concerned about the insurance companies. I'm concerned about the banking system. What I'm not concerned about is the biblical value of gold and silver. It's been around for thousands of years. And so you own multiple types of gold so that you can take advantage of markets when they get concerned again. And ultimately, right now, in the euphoria of what we see, you listen to the Chinese say that the government debt hits $3 trillion. Well, that's baloney. There are cities that have been built based on foreign currency values. And us trying to establish or believe what the Chinese say is as crazy as what we believed prior to Edward Snowden coming out and throwing the NSA under the bus. And now you've got the administration saying one thing. And why gold and silver and rare coins? Because they're tangible assets. People buy rare cars or art or jewelry or diamonds because they're barterable. I know firsthand that you can take gold to anywhere around and liquidate it, and you'll get currency for it. Whether you're a thief or not, you can take this material and liquidate it. And the amount of effort that it takes to try to find everything that was taken, it's out there. We'll get it. We all get it. Bottom line is, it's time to protect yourself. I want to own other types of coins that other people want. And when you consider that half the United States collects coins in some form or fashion, that's important. That's an important stat. Now, the real importance comes in understanding the market. And there are people that are spending $20 to $100 on a presidential dollar that blows me away because they've made hundreds of millions of them and people put them all away and they're all perfect. Well, if you limit your production to 1,000 coins and they're all perfect, or 100 million coins and they're all perfect, you run into the same problem. All the coins are perfect. They're supposed to be perfect. We've perfected, the world mints have perfected the ability to make this material. So coins should grade mint state 69 or mint state 70 or proof 69 or proof 70. It's the limited mintages when no one's looking. It's when the U.S. Mint took some of the spouse gold and dropped the mintages so low that people ignored the market. Now they understand it. Now they're picking it up, and they go out and you chase it. Folks, pick up a phone, call me, talk to me, 281-548-2646. That's 281-548-2646. or toll-free 877-705-2646. Hit option 0. You'll get a live voice. We'll be more than happy to address your concerns, your questions, your comments. Email me, Brett, B-R-E-T-T, at thegoldexchange.net. That's Brett with 2 T's at thegoldexchange.net. You can listen to over 500 shows. Sit with a notepad. Go to the meltdown.com. write the notes. We've edited out the commercials the first couple of 3 years that I did radio. Now we do podcasts because I can come on pretty much any time. Michael will upload the shows, and you can listen to the message because the message really doesn't change. The material does, and that's because the map behind me consists of thousands and thousands of dealers, and those dealers literally make markets in coins from $1 to millions. And depending on what you've got to work with, whether it's $1,000, $100,000, or $100 million, you move ahead of the market because eventually this market's going to heat up again. Silver will go through $50. I just don't know when. Gold will penetrate $2,000. There's more demand than supply. It's waiting right on the horizon. You can wait till everybody else jumps in, but folks, that's not what you want to do. You want to wait for this market to explode. It's coming. Don't forget, Tim Geithner and Ben Bernanke both acknowledge that this market's going to heat up sometime in 2014 or 2015. And I'm looking at interest rates. I keep a fairly close pulse on what's going on out there, and I can tell you that the rates are rising. It's a scary time to be involved, and yes, they're going to fluctuate. The 10-year Treasury will float from 3 down to 2.5, and it'll run back up, and if you're a day trader, you're probably making a bunch of money. If you're not a day trader, you're going to get hammered, and that's the God's honest truth. That's why we do the things we do. Foreign currencies are up against the dollar. That'll change. The dollar will gain strength because traders will trade in it. And folks, I worry about the biggest banks. They're so over-leveraged. When you get over-leveraged by too much, you file bankruptcies. Trust me, I understand that program too. There's more on the tip of my tongue that I want to share, and ultimately, whether you're buying peace dollars or Morgan dollars, whether you're building sets of barber coins or seeded coins, spend the dollars, move some assets around, accumulate more silver, handle the storage issue, because when you handle that issue, you've handled more. And ultimately, it all boils down to the same story. Own tangible gold, silver, and rare coins. Let me help you. Let me answer questions. Don't get caught pricing predicated on the cheapest stuff on the internet, because you're going to get burned. Last story. I had a man who bought a lot of stuff online. This is when I first opened my store. I probably met Bob back in 2006, and he sent me his list, and I was like, there's a lot of this stuff I got to look at. But after I did so, I calculated the real value of his material at $10,000 and told him I thought I could get him $8,500 to $9,000 because I was going to make a little bit. I had to cover my postage and the time that it took to ship the material and invoice the material. Bottom line was, I found out this man paid over $30,000 for his stuff. It's buried. He's not going to come out of it for a long time. Eventually, either he will or his heirs will inherit it, and maybe they'll have a half a chance. But my point in telling you is that Bob didn't believe what I was telling him, and this is probably in 2010, decided to buy some gold pandas. And he spent over $40,000. And he brought the coins in, and I opened up the containers that he'd bought them in, and lo and behold, the gold was fake. Now, he's a veteran. He was doing things that he shouldn't have done with funds that he shouldn't have been spending. He borrowed, and he was trying to avoid veterans benefits by showing the income in another place. Not my place to judge. His gold was fake. Every single 1/10 of an ounce, 20th of an ounce, 1 ounce. $40,000 down the drain. Haven't heard from Bob since. He hated it. I hated it for him and for his family. But the bottom line is that after 30 years of doing this, things happen, and I try to help consult. Anyway, I've given you phone numbers. I've given you my email address. Folks, I never want to get off a podcast without thanking Texas Children's Hospital, both the Downs Clinic and the Ronald McDonald House. At Texas Children's on the 4th floor, If you can provide a hot meal for 20 to 60 people, please call 832-824-8600. That's 832-824-8600. Nancy Allen and her staff will help you with a tithe, an offering, or a hot meal. I really appreciate the Myers Center. That's the Downs Clinic just south of the Fannin location, the main campus for Texas Children's. Catherine Ostermeyer runs it, and I would ask you to please go to themeltdown.com, click on either of the donation banners. The information you provide, your name, address, city, state, zip, phone number, that's all anonymous and I don't get any access to it. But the information, the funds that you provide help the kids or the families that are stuck at Texas Children's during the holiday season all throughout the year. It's the cold and flu season, and they're very busy in both the NICU, neonatal, and the PICU, pediatric ICUs. I appreciate the doctors, the nurses, the staff, and of course the volunteers at Texas Children's, at the medical center here in Houston, throughout the world. I love the kids. Now, I'm going to be working with a couple of other agencies later today. Michael and I haven't even discussed it yet, but the call's coming. And we're going to try and help a couple of more charitable contribution companies, 501c3s. So we'll have more banners going up, and I want to help more of the kids. And I appreciate you guys all listening in. Have a blessed day. If you need me, reach out for me, Brett at thegoldexchange.net. I'll try to be back around 2 to 2:30. Have a blessed day. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.